Hello, you're welcome to today's class. Today we want to look at nested structure. So nested structure is like having a structure inside another structure. That is what a nested structure is. For example, you create a structure address, and then you create another structure, a person. Now every person will have to live in an address. So inside the members of the person structure, there is also what? The address structure. That is nested structure. So let's write a simple program to illustrate that concept of what? Nested structure. Okay. So I would say include stdio dot h, and then I'm going to create my first structure, which is what? The address structure. So I'll use my struct keyword, struct, and then the structure name is what? Address, right? Inside it, I will have, let's call it city. So char, city, right? Let's assign 20 to it. So 20 byte. Then I also have zip. So I have int zip, right? So these are the things I have in my what? In my address structure. Now I'm going to create another structure, which is what? Person. So I'll use my struct keyword, struct person, right? Inside this structure, I will have char, name of the person. Let's also assign 20 bytes to it. And then I will have int age of the person, right? Now, this person has to live in an address. So to create that address structure inside this place, I will have to bring this. So that will be what? Struct address. Then I will create a variable for this structure. So that will be what? ADDR. So this is the variable for this structure, right? And I'm bringing that into this person's structure. So this is what? This is what you call nested structure. This concept is nested structure. So I'm going to close this. So I close this. Now, this is one structure that I've created. And this structure has, remember, city and zip. So the zip code. Then you have structure person. And this one has name, age, and then the address. So this address is coming from here. So that's how you are linking them together, nested structure. So this is like in the database, the concept of joining a person to a table, like an employee to what? The employee's department, right? Or a student to a course, all the courses that the student is handling. Now let's create our main function that where we will now create the variable for this person. So int main, our main function, that is where the program will start. So we are going to declare a variable for this person. So it will be what? Struct person, and we'll call it P1, right? Now let's assign values to it. So to assign values to it, for what? Name, we'll call it John, comma. For age, we'll call it 35, comma. Then you are going to have what? This address. For the address, we are having city and zip. So you have to do this again. Then the city, let's call it Lagos, comma. And then the zip. So let's say 1001. So we close this, and then for this bigger one. So these are your assigned values to what? To this struct person. Struct person P1. This is the variable that you have created for this blueprint. You must always have a blueprint. and then the physical object will be in accordance to the what? The members of that blueprint. If you try to create a person without the member defined in the blueprint, it will throw you an error. So this becomes the challenges that we face in life. You are trying to do something that is not inside your destiny. That means misalignment. So it is a problem. So you must always access this blueprint before you can create an object with a definition of values according to that blueprint. So this is what you have done. Now I want to print out these values. So I will say print F. Now name. I can say name, comma, percentage S, right, slash N. So for this one will be what? We'll be using this P1 dot name, right? Then I can say print F. For the sake of the class, okay, let's just still print it. I'll say H percentage D, that is integer, slash N, comma, P1 dot H. Then for the address, so I'll say print F, which is what? City. Percentage S slash N, comma. Now, this city, I have to access this template, this blueprint first. Then I will access this address structure. Then I will access the city that is inside it. So that will be P1 dot ADDR, which is this address, dot, so meaning I get to this address, to this variable, which is what? This one, before I can now access what is inside, dot city. That's what will give you that value. Then print F. So I can stop there for the purpose of the class so that you'll still be able to see. So I will stop here so you can see the difference between being able to access the value of this city, of this address, and that of this one. So P1.name, you can access it directly. But in trying to access the address, you have to do P1.address, which is what? This variable that you created for the address, then .city. So the same way you can access the zip. So I'll say return 0, and then I'll close this, my main. I'll close it here. So this is my code. So this is how you write structure inside another structure. So here I created this structure address, and then I created the structure person. But inside this structure person, I have structure address inside, right? So that is what you call nested structure. Then I come to my main and I create a variable for this person structure, which is what? P1. So the type is what? Struct person. And then I assign values to them. So John, then age is 35. So to assign value for this one, I have to see that there are what? 2 items or 2 members inside the structure. So I gave it Lagos and 101. Then to access them, P1.name, P1.age, but to access the member of this address, it has to be P1.address, which is the variable that I created for this. The same way I'm creating this P1 for this struct person is the same way I created this address for this struct address. That's what it means. So I am declaring P1 for this struct person while I'm declaring address. So with this address, I can access the members of this structure. So that is what I did. So to access this member from this place, it is p1.address.city. The same way I can access the zip. So that's what I want to show you in this class. So this will print out name, John, to print out age 35, and to print out city Lagos. Right? That's what it's going to print out on the screen. So let's go to code blocks and let me demonstrate this for you. And then in the next class, I will show you this same thing, but accessing it through what? A pointer. So let's go to code blocks. This is our code blocks, and this is on nested structure. So this is the code that we demonstrated on the board. So let's run this program. You can see I created my address structure, and then I created my person structure, and then I have the address structure inside the person structure. Then I created a variable for the person structure, and then I assign these values to it: John, the age 35, then Lagos as the city, and 101 as the zip. Then I use my print function to print out the value. So you can see how I access the city and how I access the zip. First, I have to access the member of P1, which is the address, and then use that address to access the city. So let's run it and see what the output will be. Okay, so you see, now giving us name, John, age 35, city Lagos, and zip code 1001. So that is what I want to show you in this class. So till we see in the next class, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Bye-bye.